Hello everyone, Lawrence here from Unicorn Reviews. In today's video we are building a custom gaming keyboard with all parts available in stock, shipped within 48 hours. Everything here is made by Akko and they actually offer a €5 coupon. You can find it in the description if you want to use that on orders over €100. So this video will be a review and a keyboard build all combined into one to save you some time. The keyboard we'll be using is the Akko 5075S DIY kit. It's a gasket mounted 75% keyboard with a knob, and this one's about €60 plus taxes. We'll be using a keycap set with an ASA profile, which is a profile I actually really like. This keycap set, super cheap, really awesome keycap set with a bunch of keys, and there's some strange stuff about it I'll show you in a bit. And then the switches we're using are the Akko POM silvers, because I wanted a monochrome theme. It's a white keyboard, white and black and silvery keycaps, so silver switches. These are very fast actuating 3mm travel gaming linear switches, so probably awesome for a gaming keyboard. Let's just dive straight into it and start with the keyboard. Alright, so the 5075 RGB Gaming keyboard, typical Akko packaging with accessories in the top and then the keyboard or whatever product it is that you're buying in the bottom. I'm going to start by taking off the accessories first, and in here there's not a whole lot actually. There's your knob. It's a bronze golden-ish knob, only one color included, also a switch puller, so make sure you use a switch puller. And there's also, if I'm not mistaken, a white cable included. I don't know if you get a different color, if the cable is a different color, but it's just a white USB-A to USB-C non-coiled, non-braided rubbery cable. So pretty cheap cable, but it does the trick. Next up, of course, the keyboard itself and some mini manual that doesn't say a whole lot. Keyboard, as usual with Akko, a little overcase, so you can use this dust cover to protect your keyboard when it's assembled and on your desk. It is packaged in a little protective bag. Again, maybe too much protection on their stuff. And then in here is the vintage white keyboard. As you can maybe hopefully see, it's a bit of an off-white because, well, it's vintage. You have your knob on here and then you have all the room you want to put in your switches. As I said at the start of the video, we're using the Akko POM silvers. This is a linear switch which actuates at about 43 grams and has 3mm of travel. So a very fast gaming, long pole stem sort of gaming switch. I already made a full review on it. It was actually my last video, so make sure to check out that review if you want to know more about these switches. Now, I've already gone through the trouble of hand lubing all of these. But these boxes are actually fairly nice for that, because you can use them as a bit of a lube station while you're at it. Okay, so building up the keyboard only took 5 minutes of plugging in switches. You don't actually have to open it up, which is a good thing because it's a friction fit sort of plastic tab design. It doesn't just screw together, which is a big downside, especially if you want to start like lubing your switches, for example, or if you want to mess around with the foam inside, or just do anything really. But anyway, that's enough of it for the keyboard for now. We'll do a full review later on in this video, and we'll move on to what I personally think is the star of the show, the keycaps. The value for money in this keycap set is incredible. Now, a lot of people think you have to get the GMK sort of stuff. I'm honestly not really a fan of GMK because it just uses a cherry profile, and that's horribly boring to type on. ASA is a much nicer profile, in my own opinion, of course, and that's what keyboards are about. It's all about your own opinion and doing whatever makes you happy. Now, the packaging on this keycap set is a little bit strange, as you'll see in a second. Two boxes inside the main box. in this box, you of course get keycaps. They're in a plastic bag, 2 plastic bags actually. And then there's also a different box. The other box is very different. It's also, again, repackaged in plastic. Akko, please stop doing this. Think of the turtles. And this is like a hard shell plastic case with all your keycaps inside. Honestly, this is already a lot nicer than GMK and how they package their keyboards, but or their keycaps. But it's really weird to have some of them packaged in this hard case and then some in just plastic bags. And with a little bit of persuasion, my camera is now focusing. As you can see, double shot keycap, nice ASA profile. This is the F9 key. It's actually got a very nice clear legend on it. The legend's also incredibly consistent, which is a good thing with keycaps. And yeah, I just love the profile. I love the feel of the plastic here. And the walls are fairly thin, but it's not super thin. And also these stems fit really nicely, whereas some keycaps are a bit too small or too big. Yeah, overall a very well made keycap set. Now this is of course Akko's black and silver, so you have some black, you have some silver. The legend on it is actually white, and you get extra black keys, you get extra white keys for, you know, doing some accents, and then you have more ISO, even extra black keys. But let's just put these on the board. For me to show you what the keyboard looks like on the inside, to do a bit of a review, here's how you actually open it. First of all, you pull off the knob. If you don't pull the knob off, then the top case will not come off. The top case has plastic clips. It has 2 in the center, both the top and the bottom, and also 2 towards the edges. These are the annoying ones. What I did is I put these little plectrums in, put them in the center bits first, and then only then try and go to the edge and like wedge it in there. Then I unclip the sides and then the bottom, so the case just comes off. At that point you are left with the PCB, the plate and the gaskets. As you can see, hopefully very thick gaskets. More about these in just a second. Hot swap sockets, support for 5-pin, support for screw-in stabilizers. I know a lot of you are into that sort of stuff, so screw-in stabilizers are definitely possible. And then this is the bottom of the case. There's a very big silicone slab in the bottom, which is good, I guess, but there's no foam in here anywhere. I actually said it was foam earlier on in the video. Nope, just a big old silicone slab. And then in between the plate, which is one of those plastic plates, there's also just silicone, so no foam, only silicone. The way this gasket mount works, fairly simple. You have your polycarbonate, very flexible plate. And this plate also has some fingers with even stress relief inside the fingers. I wish I had stress relief like that. Also, there's a little rubber silicone-like thingy that slides over this finger. As you can see, it's a fairly chunky piece of silicone, and this goes over the finger just like that. And then if you put it in the keyboard and type on it, the silicone compresses and the PC polycarbonate actually flexes a tiny little bit. Overall, this keyboard is incredibly flexible. The plate is very flexible. I shouldn't do this too hard because I'll break it, but lots of flex in the plate and PCB. But also, and this is perhaps less positive, there's also a tremendous amount of flex in the case itself. I'll assemble it and show you a bit more clearly. Bad news, I tried to reassemble it and broke the keyboard. As you can hopefully maybe see, there's a little dip switch here. The dip switch clips into this little slider, and the slider is then used to go through the hole over here. It drops in a little something like this, and then you can select between USB, Windows or Mac. But USB and Windows is the same. I really don't know why Mac is like on a slider separately. Should just be like a key combination or something like that. But basically my dip switch is now broken off. The clip on the top, or the little pin on the dip switch, is broken, so I can no longer easily change between operating modes. This is a very poor design, and because there's really no foam to add anywhere, because there's already some silicone in place, just do not open this keyboard, it's not worth it. So, bendy test. What I'm going to start off with is hold it at 3 corners and then pull up on 1 corner. This is basically an insane amount of flex in this keyboard. I'm not even trying all that hard, to be honest, but lots of flex in the chassis. That is a very bad thing. However, also lots of flex in the gasket, and that is a good thing. So if I press the escape button here, as you can see, it flexes nicely. Same for F12. All the corners, they all flex nicely. Nice amount of flex and dampening in the gasket mount, really nice. But again, lots of flex also in the chassis, and it's too much. So, for you gamer boys and girls out there, I got the full rainbow going to show off some RGB lighting. I turned off the lights in my room, but it's 10 in the morning on a Saturday, so it is pretty bright here. And the lights on this keyboard, very bright. And then this translucent polycarbonate plate also has the effect that all the colors fade very nicely, because it's a bit of diffusion actually in the keyboard. Very nice. You can control the main backlit lights and the sidebar lighting individually, and also nice bit of diffusion on these side lights, as you can see right here. The way you change between RGB modes is pressing the FN, and then you can use delete, page up, page down, and end, and then each one of these buttons has 5 different modes in between them. You can of course also change it in the software that I'll very briefly show in just a second. But the most important lighting combination in my opinion is FN and L, so you can turn off all those stupid RGB lights. Okay, this is the Akko Cloud driver. There's 4 parts of this driver. You have your main, your light, your macro, and your support section. On the main section you can rebind any key to do pretty much anything other than escape, the Windows key, Alt function, and your volume dial, which is not adjustable for some reason. If you just click a key, you can rebind it to just do a combination of keys. One of the macros you create in a different section. You can do it for media, you can even do it for mouse movement, or you can disable the key altogether, which is great for pulling pranks on people when you delete their spacebar. In the light section you can go to backlit, or so that's for the keycaps, or the light bar, and then you can select whatever effect you want on there, even audio visualizers, as long as this software is running. Lots of options for how you want each effect to work, speed, brightness, and of course you can just set it to a fixed color if you want to. In the macros section you can go ahead and record any macro you want, although I've never used this ever because auto hotkey is a thing, so why would you ever use this? I don't know. And then in the support section of the software you can see the version of the app you're using, the version of the firmware. You can update both. By now you're tired of listening to me and I'm tired of talking, so let's conclude this video. The Akko 5075S DIY kit keyboard. Value for money, it's definitely really good. The gasket mount I think is outstanding and probably one of the better implementations of a gasket mount I've ever felt, especially at this price point. There is incredibly bright and vivid RGB that's easy to control in the Akko Cloud driver software, and you can also do it on the keyboard, so that's all very nice, especially loving the gasket here, and that is offset by the very poor build quality of the chassis. There's so much flex and the chassis just breaks if you try to disassemble and reassemble it, so that's a thumbs down there. So if this is something you're into and you're not going to open up the case and you don't mind the case flexing a little bit, definitely a good thing to buy. I'm just going to add this one in real quick. The keyboard I built in this video is 166 euros, whereas the ACR Pro 75 is only 142. Yes, you don't get to choose your switches and your keycaps individually, but the build quality is so much better and it actually feels slightly nicer to type on. Also, for 120 euros you can get the Akko PC75B, which does have a knob, but it's not gasket mount as far as I'm aware. However, for me personally, big star of the show, the Akko Silver Black PBT Double Shot ASA Profile keycap set. So many keys for so little money, and it's very high quality stuff, and I'm planning to put it on some very expensive keyboards because I love this keycap set, and I love most of Akko's keycap sets. They're all very high quality and great value for money, plus they're all in stock. And then the final bit in this video, the POM silver switches, I've already done a full review on that, so just watch that video. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.